Did you know that the original Xbox lost Microsoft $4 billion in the first 4 years of its life cycle? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode number 56. My name's Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Good evening.
Right. That pause again nearly killed me. Thought he's gone. He's run away.
Just teasing you.
And on my virtual right is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard? Don't do that.
Hello.
That's very good.
Hi, guys.
Oh, yeah. Just to let everyone know, we're recording this on November the 5th, so you might hear fireworks in the background or gunfights where I live. It's one of the two. Could be one of the two. Could happen.
Fireworks ASMR.
Yes. How's your week been, you lot? What's been going on? James, how's your week been? What's been happening?
It's been very quiet this week.
Yeah.
Not got a lot done, apart from watch pointless programs like Four in the Bed, with Judy,
right.
All the classics.
Yeah.
But today, I spent 20 minutes watching a rehearsal for those concerts. The Korean concerts that I've got tickets to.
So remind us, you got concerts to a Korean concert?
Yeah, and they're both this weekend.
Okay.
And one of them did a rehearsal today. So it was 20 minutes. It was like a live lounge session. It was all chilled out, a live band, a couple of songs. It was really cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and it worked, even though it's quite a rock group. It still worked being a bit casual and laid back.
Yeah.
It was good.
Do you pay extra for that, or is it?
Anyone could have watched that one today.
Okay.
It was free for all.
I
think it was to get people to buy tickets.
What I would have really liked if they just had 20 minutes and doing a sound check. Just going, testing. I don't think the EQ levels are quite right. Just that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that is tomorrow.
Is it?
You get to pay to see that.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was good.
So you'll report back on the concerts next week, maybe. Xbox Series next week. Okay, good.
Unless they're terrible.
All right. Richard, what about you?
With it being Halloween last weekend.
Oh yeah.
We watched a few scary-ish films. We have to reach a compromise in our house that it can't be too scary, but also it needs to be Halloween themed. So I picked a film called The Banana Splits Movie, which, if anyone, I remember the Banana Splits from repeats on Cartoon Network when I was a kid. But I think it was originally a 60s kids TV show. Yeah,
and I remember that very well. That was my childhood. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 banana. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah. So these 4 animal men dressed in suits were a band basically, and it was a kids TV show. But this film now sort of puts that into a Five Nights at Freddy's scenario, where they're not men in suits, they're animatronic animals going around killing people.
Wow!
And it's an 18, and it's definitely worthy of its 18 certificate because of all the blood and gore. But it's like someone told the writer that to get people to buy into it, you need to give a lot of backstory for the characters, and almost half the film is this sort of exposition on the characters. and getting to know them. And to be honest, when you're watching it, you just want to get to the violence.
And is it made? When was it made? Recently?
I think this was last year it came out.
Wow. And is it good, Richard?
It's all right. I mean, I've watched it. I'm happy that I've watched it. But also, if anyone wants a copy of the DVD, just let me know.
Okay, good. Fireworks are kicking off where I am. London fireworks. It's that or a fight. Yeah. So you can hear that now. Good. What I've been doing today, I haven't really done much this week. I've been getting ready for... Well, we know we're going into a lockdown today, don't we? Another lockdown. And I had anxiety about... Because I had my Xbox Series X. I've talked about that, I think, before, from Game. And when the lockdown's announced, I was on this last weekend going, what am I going to do? How am I going to pick this thing up? And what Game are doing is you had to go in this week between now and Wednesday and pay for it in advance. And then on Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, we all turn up at our local game store and get handed out we got like raffle tickets handed out.
Essentials.
Yeah. And hopefully that will go all smoothly. Or it might be chaos.
Everyone's turning up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. 8 o'clock. Well, between 8 and 2 or something. So, yeah. But everyone will be there at 8, including me. Yeah, it will be like that scene, wouldn't it? It would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to be on it. Jump over them all.
Yeah.
Get down.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my anxiety of the lockdown. But it's good now. I've got it. It's good. I paid for it anyway. So hopefully I've got it. But the joke thing is, with the game thing, so you were there, and they went, okay, we need to scan it in now after you paid for it. And they went, we just get your Xbox. They got the Xbox from underneath the thing and just scanned it, and they went back. And I went to them, so you got them here? They went, oh yeah, we got them here. They're all here. And you were like, but also you were part of me was like, it'd be easier for you surely to give them out now, to have Xbox, because you won't be able to use them, will you, till there's a patch. Yeah, so that was my thought.
You'll probably take one home to try.
Yeah.
And then bring it back in on Tuesday.
That'd be mine.
And that'll be the one you get.
Yeah. Wow. Also, have you both seen sort of people who've done the sort of reviews of the Xbox Series X? The first reviews have come out for it today. And yes, of course.
I've not read any. I've seen that the embargo lifted, though.
Yeah. I mean, generally, did you ever look, James, before I get right on?
Well, I did see that they were a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's pretty quiet already, the one that I've got, so it's not the end of the world.
No.
If it wasn't any better.
I mean, all the reviews, you can have a look for yourself around, and we're going to be doing one soon, of course, when we get ours on Tuesday, they're all really positive. So it's really, people were saying, once you've got it, you can't go back.
Yeah.
They've done it already. And it's just, it's really, and the games are got loading times, much faster, of course. But, the only thing they say is, this is going to be great, but there's nothing, to test it at the moment. So, the things they were trying stuff out on were older games, or like I think a few of them had Dirt 5, which they said were impressive. They said Forza 4 just looked like a different game.
Yeah.
And played like a different game.
I think it'll take a year before we get anything that's really going to test it.
Yeah.
And get that machine whirring.
Yeah.
It's always the same, though. I remember when the Xbox One came out, people were saying the same thing. I think even though then from the 360 to the One, it was much more of a generational leap than this one feels. But it's the same every time a new console comes out. The launch titles, for those consoles that have launch titles, are okay, but they're also give it 12, 18 months, and then you'll really start to notice the difference.
Yeah. Let's talk. Let's go into news, shall we? It's a slow news week this week because after last week, which is mad, isn't it? It's because the consoles are coming out, and we get our first console on Tuesday. So we're next week going to do on the Wednesday, on the 11th, Xbox Series X special, our thoughts and our...
Are we doing a live unboxing?
Yeah.
on mic.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, just audio. Lots of things going. Oh, that's.
Can
Well,
you hear that, guys?
yeah.
It's the cardboard.
There's me going to the
1
recycling.
minute.
Yeah.
Bang! It's broken. Oh well.
Let's talk through news, and if we keep it on the new console stuff. Did you ever look at the NBA? So NBA 2K21, which is you're having to pay for an upgraded version of this game, aren't you? I can't. If I've got it, do I have to pay a completely separate price, or can I? Is it an extra bit of money, or I don't get it free, do I?
No, that one's. I have no idea on that one. Seems to be different to how everyone else seems to be doing it.
But they've announced this multiplayer thing, haven't they? On the
City.
Yeah, PS5 and Xbox Series X. Can one of you explain it to me?
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Go on, Richard.
It's almost like an online, online city, similar to like an MMO, where everyone meets up and plays basketball together.
And you've got kind
there's
of
lots of different
gangs, haven't
sorry,
you?
yeah, 4 different boroughs, north, south, east, and west, and then there's just basketball hoops and courts everywhere in this online city.
Yeah. And shops. Lots of shops.
Yeah.
Buy some cool clothes.
Buy with real money.
Yeah.
I guess
more expensive than the real shops.
I guess it's not going to be aimed at you two or me. But it's a good they've got an extra bit for this next gen. I mean, the NBA 2K21 new gen videos look amazing. And I've got this version. And it does look amazing. It does look a step up. And adding this extra layer is good though, isn't it?
Yeah, if it was FIFA, I'd be all over this. But being NBA, I'm not too interested.
Yeah,
I think they know they've got to justify the extra money they get to pay out for it.
Yeah.
So they're adding so many new things, and I mean, I think they're gonna have mayors as well for the different gangs, affiliates, whatever you call them.
Okay.
So someone can actually read the whole area and make choices.
Wow.
Like court designs and uniforms, and they can even make videos, which is quite cool.
We should get it now and get Gareth as the mayor of them.
Well, after the first 6 weeks, you can elect the first mayor, because the first ones they choose. So give it 6 weeks, get your following going.
I'll get in there.
And then you can wax lyrical in the video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll do that.
To the different gangs. I reckon you'd be in the Western Wildcats.
Oh yes.
It's definitely your.
Yeah, that is me. That's good.
No,
Richard is the Northside Knights. And then the Beast of the East.
Yeah, Beast from the East. I think it's definitely James.
Okay, we'll do that. We won't do that. We've got too much going on. We've got too much to play. Let's carry on with the other news from the new consoles. The Black Ops Cold War size has been released. It's about 130 gigabytes to put it onto your hard drive.
It's about the same as Warzone.
And is that Warzone as well then? Or is Warzone as well added on top of that?
No, I don't think this is getting a Warzone, is it? But it's about the same size.
Okay. But Warzone's linked a little bit to this, isn't it? So Warzone's going to carry on. Yeah, and I think they might do some Black Ops stuff with it.
Ah, like with the new map or whatever.
Yeah. So they could. So in a sense, if you've got both these on your thing, so what have you? That's 260 gig, isn't it?
And that's you done.
Wow.
Long as you love COD, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It is a lot though.
It's gonna, and there was stuff today about the Xbox Series S has only got 356 gigs usable.
364.
364. Sorry. Yeah. Get it right. So there's not a lot of space, is there?
No. I mean, there's not much more space on the X, though, really.
No.
It's only 800 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And then, it will soon run out when the bigger games come out
Yeah.
next year.
Well,
Cyberpunk.
it could be this year. I mean, if you had Assassin's, FIFA, Call of Duty, and maybe Cyberpunk, you're getting probably you're getting over half, aren't you?
Yeah. Your best way to play Game Pass games, the indie ones, they're like 1 gigabyte each.
Yeah.
Just download all them. Never a whale of a time.
Yeah, it's not going to be. They want you to buy this bloody thing, don't they? It's £220.
Certainly do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you will.
But is it just not so? Is Call of Duty not as optimized as it could be then? Because I'm struggling to understand how it can be that big a file.
Yeah, I don't know. It must be. Is it optimized? Is it the optimized version, or is that coming out? Yeah, I think this is the optimized version, isn't it? So this is the file for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Will it be launching with all the maps? Do you think? Is that what the size is, or is when they release the map packs, it's going to get even bigger?
Or maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just a game. Maybe this is it.
But it's a good 40 gig difference between that and the current gen version.
Yeah.
That's going to be 93 gigabytes. The Xbox One version.
It's bloody hell.
So
Right.
all next gen assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 gig for a bit of 4K. Crikey.
It's old
the hassle.
old chat ray tracing.
Cancel it all.
He loves to
Get rid of it all. You don't need it.
Well, the
Floppy disk.
the PS5 they've said you've only got 650 gigs usable storage. That's what I saw today. Have I got that wrong?
Was it? Yeah, it was an 825 SSD, and then you've got all the software on that before you buy the thing.
Wow. It's going to be like a Resident Evil game. We're just going to do inventory management all the time. that's the constant thing that we do, just swapping stuff around. Yeah.
Xboxception.
Yeah. We just need to be frugal with what we keep. But you can, we talked about this before, you can just, if these download speeds are very fast, you can just get it off your hard drive and keep it in the cloud, and then just download it when you want it.
I think it's easier with a fast internet, but up north, it's quite slow to download stuff. So you want to keep it on there, just in case.
Right.
You end up playing, Call of Duty Warzone for 5 minutes.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If we're going to be continuing to write for the Xbox Hub, Neil should sort us out some external HDDs.
He should do, yeah. He needs to sort that out very quickly. We saw as well, just keeping on the theme, the Witcher 3 had a kind of a showcase of some of the older games about how fast the loading times are on those games. And have you seen the kind of little video clip of the Witcher 3?
It was a beautiful mess. It was awful but brilliant at the same time.
It's loading in too quick.
It's really quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of me that's, it's going to sound mad, but part of the culture of you put a game on, you kind of do something else. You sort of get ready for it as well. I'm not saying that I like loaded screens, but you sort of switch on and go, it's part of my thing now. I will get stuff. I go and, I might have a tea. I might be looking at my phone. But if you're like, switch it on, you're straight in the game. It's quite like, oh my God, I've got to go straight away. Yeah. No, it's going to be great.
It's
it
really
will be
fast though.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look great, but it did the job. As in, you literally don't wait. You're straight in. And I remember the overloading times. It was fairly lengthy. Waiting there to get to the next area in The Witcher.
I think someone was saying with GTA 5, the game that never dies, is that will. I think they said it's like 35 to 40 seconds, which is long still for them. But that.
Horizon 4.
Oh yeah, that'd be the test. I think they've said though it's really fast. That's what they were saying in reviews today. It's a completely different feel to it. Yeah.
I think The Witcher 3 is getting a next gen upgrade as well, though.
It is.
So it might be when that comes through. It might have a short load time with all the 4K stuff being put onto it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want that, I think many games are having the option to have that or not, aren't they? So we'll keep it as is.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to go back to The Witcher 3. I did go back once time to play the DLC, and it was so hard. I got out of the rhythm of it. I was like, I can't do this. What am I doing? I spent 100 hours on this game. I can't go back to it. The last bit of news before we're moving along swiftly today because we want to do a little special goodbye to the Xbox One. Is that did you see the article about the Japanese arcade? Sega have sold their arcade business.
Yeah,
very sad.
It's very significant, isn't it? That's kind of it for them there. And is that it for arcades? Do you think
they're not getting rid of them? They're selling them to a different company because I think with COVID and everything, Sega are just losing so much money on them. So I think the arcades should still exist, but they'll be branded as a different company.
Do you think there is a life in arcades anymore?
I think there definitely is in Japan and places like that,
right?
And Hong Kong and stuff. I think for us, I can't remember the last time I saw a proper arcade that wasn't at the seaside.
James, what do you think?
There's still big business over there.
I think arcades have died a death over here, haven't they?
Yeah.
Now you've got sticky floors, kids running around screaming. It's a nightmare.
I suppose
You can't just have a nice peaceful game of Virtual Cop or House of the Dead. You just can't do it anymore.
I suppose those games still the kind of games when you're in something, you've got guns, to play with, or you're in a kind of machine that's moving around or something like that. That kind of or the dance machine. Those things are still very popular, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're always sort of bolted onto something else, though, aren't they? Like a bowling place or a cinema might have a couple of machines.
Yeah.
It'd be very sad to see them go, even though I'd never go into an arcade anymore. But it'd be very sad to see, that was the kind of dawn of video games, really. That's where you could experience it. You didn't, even when the home stuff came along, it never was as good. You'll get that experience in an arcade from a game that you never get from home.
It's very addictive when you're putting those 50p's in your home coins, or even 20p's, and just having a quick go and going, I've got one more go. I'll get better at this. I used to do that with Tekken.
Yeah.
I was on holiday in Spain, and all week I was just on Tekken. In the hotel.
Do you remember Dragon's Lair? Remember that game? Have you heard of that game, you two?
Yeah, I heard of it, never played it. Yeah.
Dragon's Lair, for younger generations, never think. Dragon's Lair was like a cartoon. It was like a Disney film, and was on the screen, and basically all you do is like something would happen, and then you've got your joystick, and you've got left, right, up, and down, and then you press things. So it's like you have to be really quick and go left at the right time, or you die. You could play a game of Dragon's Lair and it would be over in 1 minute. But it was the most expensive thing. So everything generally was 10p or maybe 20p, and this was 50p. And you'll literally you could be dead in a minute. But it was the most, you really wanted to play that game more than anything else. It was a really clever marketing ploy because it looked great. It was a Disney film. And you felt like you were playing it. Yeah.
Was that your go-to game?
I couldn't afford it. You used to just hang and watch people, see if you could.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
I can safely say I've never paid 50p for an arcade game, though. It's £1 minimum, surely.
Yeah, now it is. 10p is me. I'm
So
not.
it wasn't a sixpence in your day.
We bartered for it. I came in with a potato. They let me have a go. Right. What have we been playing this week? Let's start with Richard. What have you been playing?
Which one? We're stuck in which one to do first. I'll do Watch Dogs Legion first.
Ooh.
They not come out last Thursday.
Yes, we talked about it last week briefly because I played maybe 2 hours of it that day of the podcast. I had a review thing, so we just chatted really briefly about it.
Yeah. It just feels like a long time ago, but it was last week it came out. I'm enjoying it. It's very much, if you've never played a Watch Dogs game before, it's sort of like an open world. It's an open world city. You play as a hacker that goes to various places and tries to infiltrate them using security cameras and computers. I was much more a fan of the first one than I was of the second one. And I know I'm in the minority in that, but I really enjoyed Watch Dogs 1 compared to 2. And I think Legion has sort of got the balance between the first and the second one. It's a dark, it's almost a bit too on the nose being a London post-Brexit with everything that's going on. But it still remains quite light-hearted. I think Bagley, the name of the AI.
God, I hate Bagley.
Do you know? I don't mind him.
Oh, that's the one thing I can't stand is Bagley. Yeah. Don't know why.
But, it's okay. Last night I played it a bit more, and there's eight districts that you need to liberate, and I managed to liberate Westminster by getting my spider bot, and it was like a mini platforming section all the way up Big Ben Tower.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed. It was something new for the series, because the rest of the time I feel that there is a bit too much reliance on just going to a place and hacking to find information.
Yeah, I think that's really key saying that, because you do think, oh, I know what this game is after a while, and then it will do something like that, or you have a whole section. There's a great section when you fly a drone through a kind of like a really mini drone through a kind of computer. And it becomes like an assault course. So it's there's loads of little bits like that, and you go, oh yeah, this is really good. They've done a brilliant job here. But I agree with you on that, because I've played it. I'm reviewing it for us, so I played quite a bit of it as well. I think
it's got some good ideas.
Yeah.
So the thing where you can sort of recruit anyone on the streets, a really good idea. But it comes to a point where you sort of just realise that actually you're just recruiting an ability, so to speak. I don't have any personal connection to any of these characters.
Yeah, it's a really. I'm playing with permadeath on, so I mean, there's one guy I had who I hated, and he died, and I was like so glad. I thought, thank God for that. But there's a couple of characters that I really want to keep these characters. And so I've even got to a point when I was in a lot of trouble, and I switched the Xbox off to stop it doing permadeath. I just relaxed, and then loaded it back up, and that was fine. But yeah, it was like, there's a couple of ones I've got kind of, but there's other ones that are like, oh, I can't do it. I just don't know. But yeah, I think the character being able to do every character is great, and I think it's a really good idea. But it feels like it's really at a really basic stage.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to see what they do with it later on, maybe. I think it's at the start of something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The issue as well is, like, you can pick anyone in the street, but then suddenly everyone moves the same. Everyone suddenly can be a brilliant guns person, attack everyone in the same way, and hack. Do you know what I mean? It's like no one's got, apart from, like, you might have someone who's got something like a doctor who can get into the hospital without being alerted. That's it, really, costume-wise. But it'd be great if you had someone who's completely unfit or can't run or can't, things like that would be really great.
I've seen some of the older residents won't be able to go into cover and bend down. But then there's also people that have the ability. One of their traits is that they can just die randomly. I don't know if you've seen
I've not seen
anyone like
that.
that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there was a video of someone that just went around recruiting specifically those, and it would get to a point where I think you have to play with them for an hour or so, and then it's almost like at any point they can just keel over and die, no matter what you're doing.
I like that. Good. Well, that's the thing. I think I'm sort of like I'm ploughing through the kind of missions to get nearer, so I'm getting to a point where I'm sort of reviewing it now. But actually, it's one of those games that I really like being in London because I'm from London. And I love it just driving around. It's a really good kind of like crunched version of London. But it's one of those games I thought, oh, actually, because when the new Xbox comes out next week with the upgrade, I'm really looking forward to getting it back again and then doing everything. And I haven't done that for a while. I thought, actually, I want to get everyone. I want to get as many people as possible. And I want to do all the little sides. I want to do all the little extra bits. I feel like that'd be quite nice to do, especially with the Series X upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. And then in December, there's the online section coming, which I'm quietly thinking might be a little bit like GTA Online, which would be really interesting.
Well, that's what we should play, because James has got it as well, hasn't he, James?
Mm-hmm.
I'd definitely give that online a try.
Well, let's do that. That's the three of us, and we can report back on the podcast.
The online was always fun in Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
It's silly, but fun.
Yeah. It's really good. It's good. It's really good. I think everyone should give it a go. But there's something missing, isn't there? There's something missing. Yeah. I think there's a problem that you can't go into everything. You're basically outside a lot. There's only a few interior locations, isn't there?
Well, we said that before about the shops as well.
Yeah, you have to You have to shop from outside. But yeah, it's good. It's good. James, what have you been playing?
Oh, I can't believe I've got to follow Watch Dogs. I've been playing BH Trials. Have you heard of it?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Well,
it looks brilliant.
Richard knows it's going to be a real treat. Basically, you're driving a digger, but you're not excavating. You're not, digging trenches. You're doing a bit of parkour. How? I still don't know. But after playing it for several hours, you basically got to use the front arm and the loader to navigate around obstacle courses. Because the actual digger has no steering wheel, no engine, nothing. It's just got wheels.
I see. Wow.
So you've got to use the boom and the dipper on the front to pull yourself along, and you've got to use a loader to balance yourself and give yourself a little bit of a shove, and you've got to climb steps. It's mad.
And what are the locations, James? Are they kind of like just normal?
Oh, they're very bland.
Right. Okay.
It's like being in the Portal world. It's like very clinical. But it's good that they introduced new mechanics. I mean, you've got to press buttons with the claw. So you've got to reach it all the way out. And one button that I pressed, I thought, what does this do? And the next minute, a big baton came from the side of the room and knocked the flame and destroyed the digger.
Wow.
It's like total wipeout. But yeah, it's good how it introduces new mechanics, and the physics are great, but it's so hard to manipulate.
It sounds
the arm. Yeah, it took me a while to get any kind of rhythm. I spent 2 hours on the first level, and that was the easiest one. All you had to do was get to the end. There were no obstacles.
When I reviewed those construction sim games, I've done a couple of those. The digger was the thing that drove me mad. Just like you said, just all the arms and all the set things to move around. I hated them.
I'm moving one with the left stick, one with the right stick.
Yeah. Right.
Turning it is painful. But what would be quite cool is they've got a co-op mode, but it's only local, which is a shame. and it's a spider digger. So you've got 4 legs on the digger, and every person gets 1 leg.
Wow.
You've got to move at the same time.
Oh, that's great.
It'd be so much fun if,
Oh.
I'm a trade people.
Well, James, that's your Christmas sorted out. Get your nan on there, on the left leg.
I think we're in lockdown, guys. Think on time.
Oh,
No,
good.
don't worry, Nan. Don't worry about COVID. Let's play this digger game.
Oh, dear. Right, good. The game I've been playing this week is a game that's been out for a while on PC, 2017, called Stories Untold, and it just appeared on the Xbox on Friday, and it had no fanfare, it just appeared, just was there, and we got a code, and I did a review for it, which should be live soon, and I hadn't played it before, and it's by the team who made, I think, the writer on Alien Isolation, and recently they've done Observation, which is the sort of award-winning game in space. And Stories Untold is an episodic game. It has 4 episodes, and it's like a TV show. It's like watching a Twilight Zone or Tales of the Unexpected. It has its own credit sequence at the beginning, and then you're in. But in the end, all 4 episodes are linked, even though they don't seem. So everyone has a kind of different gameplay dynamic. So the first one is you're in front of a computer, an old 80s computer with a monitor, and it's a text adventure that's appearing on the screen. And you're typing in a text adventure, like it says, you're in a car, what do you want to do? And then you can choose from the options, say open door, look in glove box, and then you have this text adventure. And then, which sounds, both of you were going, is that it? But then, without spoiling anything too much, you're doing it, and then it says, you go into a room, you see a person on a computer. They turn, so it becomes very meta very quickly, and things aren't what they seem. And then another couple of episodes, then suddenly you're in another episode, you're doing an experiment. So you've got all these scientific machines, and you've got a manual that you're looking at, and you have the instructions to do these series of experiments, and literally you're switching on machines, doing it in order, getting the kind of like the dials right so the experiment happens. I'm not impressing you two at all.
I'm wondering if I get a refund. You told me to buy this.
It sounds unique.
It is brilliant.
You definitely oversold it.
No, honestly, the story, I can't say too much because it will spoil anything, but it's really, really good. The narrative of it, the kind of just that weird kind of gameplay, and it's only what is it, £7 or something, £8?
Yeah, it was in. I think it had a launch discount.
It's like £6 a launch, wasn't it? I think it's £8 normally. Yes, it's great.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really unusual. You never play anything like it. The story's amazing. It really is good. I can't say anything else about it. I don't know what else to say because it's just. I don't want to spoil anything. If I say anything else, I'll spoil it. But everyone have a go.
Yeah.
Not something different.
You might have put everyone off it now.
I think I have. I think I have. Get it. Let's do the last game. What, Richard? You got one more for us, haven't you? Before we move on.
Also been playing the new Dark Pictures anthology game, Little Hope, which I'd spoke about the previous one on the podcast before, which was Man of Medan. So I was really interested in picking this one up as well. And this one is more to do with witch trials. And it's set, I think it's set in present day mainly, but then there's also a bit in the 60s and then the 16th century as well. I think that was when it was set. Which Little Hope is a town in America that has a lot in common with Salem, where the witch trials happened for real.
Right.
And I've not yet finished this new one yet, so I'm not 100% sure on what's happening, because the beauty of these games is that it drip feeds the information till the last 10 minutes or so, when everything sort of clicks into place. But it's if you've ever played Until Dawn or Man of Medan, it's the same sort of vein, like a horror game, a choose your own adventure horror game.
And it's got the main guy, isn't it, as the holding frame, the librarian guy, isn't it? From the
the curator. He's back in it, sort of guiding you along. But it's making me laugh, Lil Hope, because there's parts in it where you'll see some weird thing that looks out of place, and it'll transport the characters back to the time where the witch trials were going on. But the people that are in the past in these witch trials are all talking with a broad Yorkshire accent. And then they'll come back out of these moments and they'll be like, I can't understand a word they're saying. And I'm like, I can understand it perfectly.
This is what the podcast people are saying now. No, Richard, that's cool. That's it's mad, isn't it? I love that kind of like. I've seen it with American TV with northern accents when they've had subtitles. They've got subtitles terrible. Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I enjoyed Man of Medan more because the concept of that scared me a lot more than perhaps this one does, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they seem to have. I mean, I'm still encountering quite a few bugs in it, if I'm being honest. But not as many as there was in Man of Medan. Yeah.
I mean, they've got quite a schedule, haven't they? Because they've got one next year as well, haven't they? They've said at the end of it. And they're I think they're doing one a year, aren't they? They said they were going to do 7 or 9 of these, weren't they?
Really?
Yeah, I remember when I did the press thing. So I think they're going to be kind of like, it's going to be a bit of a rush now, isn't it?
This one got delayed, didn't it, as well? So
yeah,
I'm not sure what that's going to do for the next one. I mean, it's good, but I think with it being this choose your own adventure thing, there was a part that was supposed to trigger for me, but it never happened, and then everyone just spoke about it afterwards, and I was like, all right, so that was supposed to have happened then. But it just because it branches off so much, I think it does just get a little bit lost in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that happened to me in Watch Dogs. They started chatting to me like I've done something. I thought you're talking to me like I'm a different character. It was really weird. Good, thank you, gentlemen. Now we're gonna sort of finish a little feature for us, and it's goodbye to Xbox One and One X for some of us. I think I'm giving it mine to a mate. James will keep it in his cupboard of antiquities.
Indeed, with the Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah.
And the Game Gear.
Richard, what will you do with yours?
So mine's moving from the back room, which is where we spend a lot of our time, to the living room, /dining room area, which is replacing the 360, which is there currently, which will then go into the cupboard of doom.
Wow. I like the way it's just shifting through value for the house.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the Game Boy? It's outside in the kennel.
I have that somewhere as well. I was going to try and fix one.
So let's just chat about now. Let's chat about the Xbox One. So it launched in 2013, didn't it? I think 14, 13. First of all, to the both of you, has it been a success, this console?
That's a tough question.
From the 360, that step up what you thought it was going to be, do you think there has been a...
Yeah, yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say yes and no as well.
Quality-wise, it's been a big step up.
Yeah.
Quantity-wise, in regards to the quality, not so much. As an Xbox, I think. As in exclusives.
Yeah.
It's been quite short on great exclusives. But what we have got have been pretty decent.
I mean, for Xbox, yeah, it's not been there's not been that many at all, is there? For
no.
What we had? We've had Forzas, Halo 5, and
Gears.
Halo, and Gears, 2 Gears.
The same ones we had on 360.
Ori in the Blind
Ori,
Forest.
yeah.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, yeah.
There's not many, is there?
No.
We're really struggling after remakes and sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not many.
I mean, I think this
That's really bad.
I think this is going forward now. I think this is what they're trying to do right now because all the studios they've got. So I think Xbox will have a very strong lineup in the next couple of years. But yeah, it hasn't.
They identified the problem, and now they're going to fix it. It's just hopefully not going to take too long. I think they've got a year or two, and we don't start seeing some decent exclusives, and it'll probably just end up the same as this one.
Mm-hmm.
Forzas and Gears and Halos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, isn't it? Because like we said last week, I'm not that excited about another Halo. I'm not that excited about another Gears. Even though I really loved Gears 5, I thought it was great. Much better than 4. It was really good. But that's the stuff that isn't exciting me.
No, because they'll come and go whether we like it or not. I think waiting for something different.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a Gears game. There's always going to be a Halo game.
Yeah.
And when we're going to get that with, was it Scalebound? That looked so different for exclusive.
Yeah.
It just got canned.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, I do feel like the Xbox One and the One X, I think the One X never had its day, really.
It's lived a short life.
Yeah, and it had it's got a very powerful machine that never got used to the 4, I think, probably. Is that fair to say or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got a One X. I'm still on the launch day Xbox One. But for the most part, the only game that I really struggled on was probably PUBG. When we played it online, you were all jumping out of the helicopter whilst I was still loading in sometimes. So that's the only real thing that that made me think, oh, I should have upgraded. But other than that, I never noticed an issue.
Right.
To be fair, even the X's struggled with PUBG.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare game for any console.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, we've got 3 games that I've asked you to think about tonight. First of all, your favourite kind of games over this life swap. What would they be? Let's go round on the first one and then we'll do it in a loop. What's your first one, James?
It's got to be Rocket League. I mean, again, it's not an exclusive, but it's a game that's taken up, I wouldn't like to think how many hours, but even more than FIFA. I think it's incredible how they've combined the cars and the football, and it works. It's still been going strong. What is it, 4 years now? More.
It might be more.
It just gets better and better, and every game is different. Every match is exciting. You score new goals, pick up new tricks. It's definitely my favourite game.
And it came out originally on the PS4 as a free game for the month on the PSN. Yeah, because I had that and I remember, and then it came to it's done it's an extraordinary story, isn't it? As well, from that kind of very small indie team have made that to where it is now. This esports event really.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Is it like the third one in the series as well from them as well? Because I'm sure they had games out before that were called Super Awesome Rocket Powered Cars.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. No.
Something like that. So
had one before.
They called it Rocket League because it was much more catchy.
Yeah. That's a good choice. That's a good one, James. What about you, Richard? What's your next one?
I'd probably put a game that's really defined the generation for me is probably Destiny. Is certainly up there. It was almost like the original looter shooter that's then been copied so many times. And I remember before this latest generation, before the Xbox One came out, Bungie were teasing this game, and there was one teaser image of what turned out to be one of the spider tanks, I think they were called. and I was just so invested in this new thing from them. And then it sort of, I think I had it pre-ordered, but I cancelled my pre-order because I can't remember why I cancelled it, to be honest. But then they did the beta, and it was when Twitch had just arrived on the Xbox One at that point, I think. And I spent all weekend watching these Destiny streams, and I was like, this looks amazing. The original, the first strike where you fight Sepix Prime, the big sphere. I don't know if you two ever played Destiny.
I did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just the music and everything about it just absolutely blew me away. And I then reinstated my pre-order because I thought I can't miss out on this. And I think I spent 250 hours on it. I know that's not much in terms of some of my friends have put thousands of hours into it, but I got a lot out of Destiny.
But I think that's a really good point, Richard. And with James earlier, I think it was Rocket League, the amount of hours that people put into it. And I think it's the same with Destiny. And the biggest thing about Destiny was having, I think in this generation, a massive multiplayer online game. Really.
Yeah.
Even though it's, and I don't think we had them as much in the 360, did we? Is that right? Is that fair to say? Trying to think of those.
I agree. This console generation has certainly seen MMOs appear on console a lot more.
Yeah.
Like this and Neverwinter and Elder Scrolls Online. I think because the consoles are finally able to handle big meaty games.
Yeah. And I think that might be interesting going forward as well. See how that would even more, increase more for those big kind of games. Yeah. I'm going to go for my one, Red Dead 2. I'm not going to talk so much because we all know it's an amazing game. It's an amazing kind of piece of artistry. You wouldn't say so. You've only played the bloody multiplayer. It's single player. It's the brilliant story. It's a kind of technical masterpiece. And it's huge. It's a brilliant open world game. And it was interesting because that was the first proper Rockstar, the only one of this generation. Well, I'm not going to count GTA 5 because that was an old one. But it's, and we talked about this before, in the 360 you had 2 GTAs, you had Red Dead, you had a Bully, and a table tennis game. So it's very interesting that you just had this one, that was the one game, and they spent a lot of time on it. And it showed, and it was great. It was a really, a moment ago. Oh yeah, this is what these consoles are for, and seeing what can be done going into the future. With these big open worlds, it's really exciting. It's a fantastic game. You two haven't played it, have you? James has played the multiplayer, which isn't good. Actually, I don't think. Have you played it, Richard?
I think it put me off when you kept tying each other up.
Yeah, that was weird.
I think that's always quite off-putting.
That was weird. Right, I'm going to rush through all you two because we haven't got much time. What's your next game on the list, James?
PUBG. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Because I enjoy nothing more than a wander through the forest and occasionally killing my friends. And that's what PUBG is all about. It's amazing how a game where you generally don't see anyone for ages, you don't do a lot for ages, you just go scavenging. But it's so relaxing and addictive. I mean, again, I wouldn't like to think how many nights I spent playing it and getting nowhere near a chicken dinner. Nowhere near.
I mean, we played it for 3 years and none of us have done it.
No, but we did say we did get one. That would be the end of it.
Yeah.
That is almost like the Holy Grail. But no, there's so many great memories as well.
I think it's the first time we played. I remember James played it first of all, and it was the idea of Battle Royale, which we never played before. Yeah. And the idea of 100 to 1, which is a great concept as well. And when we were all, I remember us sitting in a house for the first time and just waiting. and but being really tense because it was just like had an area of like really where are people, and you could just see this huge landscape around you and thinking someone's going to come. Can you hear something? That I'd like to have that first feeling back again in another game. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Because at the
but
moment,
I got that every time I loaded up the game for PUBG.
well,
I was always on edge.
Well,
and
you
I
didn't know you were going to get out of the
what to
plane.
do. Yeah, that was the main thing. Am I going to be able to jump this time?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a really good call. It's a good shout. It's really, lots of people will hate it, and lots of people do. But I think for an experience, it's amazing. Good.
It's got good longevity.
Yeah. Richard, your next one.
I'm going to quickly gloss over this one because I mention it in every podcast. But Yakuza Zero, it's, as I've said before, my favourite game of all time. After playing it originally on the PS4, and it was over the moon when it was coming to Game Pass. And yeah, if you've not played Yakuza Zero, I would definitely play Yakuza Zero.
Was Yakuza Zero a remake of it? It was like not a redo, wasn't it? A remaster of. Did it come out beforehand, or was it a completely new game for this?
It was a new game, but it was a prequel to the series that came before.
Right.
So then after that, they remade the first and the second game, which are also on Game Pass.
Yes, that's right. Good. And the new one's coming out next week.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exciting.
Yeah. It's me now, isn't it? My next one is Inside. And I think as well, Inside, but also as a caveat, it's all the indie games. Because we review a lot of indie games. The indie games for this generation have been amazing. Just seen some fantastic experiences throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all going to agree with that. Things that we're really lucky that we get option quite a few that we might not necessarily buy. We might miss out, but we played some gems. And this one, Inside, I remember it being at not EGX. What's the thing in the LA? I forget the name of every time. E3, and it got announced and said it's out tomorrow or something, or it's out in 2 weeks. And I loved Play Dead's first game, Limbo, and I thought I'm going to give this a go, and it's a brilliant kind of like experience, wordless, stories all told visually about this kind of boy's journey through a kind of black and white dystopian landscape. And it has one of the best endings, the most disturbing endings I've ever seen in a game. It's a master. That's another masterpiece for me. So just you played it, you two?
No.
You
I wanted to, because I enjoyed Limbo.
Yeah, you got
Limbo
to.
was great fun.
Richard, you played it?
No, but I know the ending that you're referring to.
Play it. Everyone play it. It's great. You can play it on your phone now, I think. But that's fantastic. Right, the last one, gentlemen. Let's go for Richard. What's your last one?
My last one is another indie game. There's probably the best storytelling I've had in this generation, and it's Firewatch, which I don't know if either of you two have played.
I have.
Yep.
It was one of the first games I reviewed actually for the Xbox Hub.
It was. That's why I bought it. On your recommendation.
Oh, and was the recommendation good?
Certainly. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's just... It's mainly... I don't know how much I should say without really giving it away, but there's two people that only ever really communicate over walkie-talkies that work in a national park, and each one of them sits on top of a fire tower, basically overlooking this national park in America. I think it's set in the 1980s as well. But yeah, for two people that never meet and the conversations that they have, it's just I think the writing in it's the most natural conversation I've ever seen in any medium other than actually having an actual conversation with someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's an amazing game. And you're right. It's just really and there's been lots of games that have copied that style, which is nice to see as well in the last couple of years. Good. James, what's your last one?
My final one is a farming game, but not a simulator.
No.
It's Stardew Valley.
Okay.
But have you played it?
No. Oh, yes, I have. Yes,
What?
I have. Yeah.
I was going to say, it again, it's another melancholic experience. You can just sit there, planting vegetables, selling them for a profit, and just having a lovely life. It's amazing how time flies when you're making money. But yeah, I was amazed because I do hate farming games. But the way that Stardew Valley it's got a lovely visual style. It's a bit Pokemon-y. But it's just really addictive. Trying all the different seeds and see what you can grow and how much money you can make on different days. It's just so chilled. Very chilled out. I need to do animal husbandry, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
At first I thought it meant getting married to a pig. But no, you can look after them. You don't have to do anything weird.
Good. Thank God for that. Could have taken a very
Yeah,
dark turn.
It's a lovely farming game.
Okay, that's good.
Arguably the best
Good.
farming games ever.
Thank you, James. That's good. My last one, it's a tough one. I'm going to have to go for the Assassin's Creed. I think I'm going to go for all the Assassin's Creed of this generation. Massive Assassin's Creed fan. I think the one moment that I kind of knew things were different was when he played Unity. And Unity, of course, had lots of problems with other people on PC, mainly, with its kind of glitches. But the moment you could jump from outside into an interior and then jump out again, and the interior was very detailed on France, it was the moment you went, oh, that's what the new console could do, because you couldn't do that before. You have to go to a sort of like a loading screen to get into the interior sometimes. So that was the kind of moment on that first one. And then Syndicate was great because it was kind of London Victorian child. Then they had that gap, and then they had Oranges, and then they had Odyssey. So I have really enjoyed those, and I've really enjoyed to see how that's progressed. But there's loads of games I like. We haven't got time to really do our best bit, but I think it's been good. I think I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been a success.
I don't regret it getting an Xbox.
No.
Which is a surprise, given that, I've played about 5 games in 7 years. But yeah, no, I think it's been good.
I'm going to ask this to Richard because I know you got one. Do you think the PlayStation had a better go this generation?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think they probably did. Just because of the first party games they had. Yeah.
So Until Dawn, God of War, just 2 off the top of my head.
Last of Us 2.
Still not played that. I haven't yet.
Uncharted. What was your one, James?
Spider-Man,
yeah.
Spider-Man, yeah.
It's had a mad amount, hasn't it? And
I know it's been a great generation for PlayStation. They've knocked it out of the park, haven't they?
Yeah.
But so I bought my PlayStation 4 to play No Man's Sky when that first came out. And I had noticed that even with Yakuza as well, the games that I enjoyed originally on PlayStation 4, a lot of them they weren't necessarily first party, but launched on their first, did find their way over to Xbox. And I think that's helped the Xbox. If they'd have not done that with some of those games, I think the gap would have been even bigger.
Yeah. You know what, Richard? I'm thinking about going, because I've done No Man's Sky. I did it on the PlayStation loads of hours. I started again on the Xbox. And because No Man's Sky is going to have a massive visual upgrade again and all sorts of mission upgrade, I might start again.
I'd join in.
Join in. Let's do it again. Because I said before in this podcast, I keep opening it up and I'm stuck somewhere. I'm going to die. I don't know what's going on. I've got no fuel. I can't do that load again. Obviously, I ended up in a very bad place. But I love that game. I could spend lives on this, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's add that to the list.
Let's add that to the list. Brilliant, gentlemen. Now, we'll see you next week for the Xbox Series X and our first impressions. But also, we've got on the site, there's a competition at the moment. And some of the best prizes. And it's PUBG. And it's celebrating Season 9, which I think is out now. I think it's just come out. And we are giving away a PUBG alpaca plush toy. Little alpaca toy. We're also giving away a PUBG poncho to wear in the winter nights. And also some PUBG pins to put on your jacket or your head if you want to do that. I don't know. But those three, brilliant. I think these are the best prizes ever. I want the poncho. Those three, the poncho, the toy, and the pins could be yours. James, what do they have to do to get those things?
They have to enter. It's a Gleam widget, so you enter your details, and then you have to follow us on Twitter, and it has all the details on there. You've got to check the YouTube, visit us on Facebook, and once you use the Gleam widget, it does the entry for you. You don't have to confirm anything really. It's all done in seconds. Great.
Okay, good. So you'll find this in the notes of this podcast, or also you can look on the Xbox Hub site as well.
Indeed.
Good. Now, gentlemen, we're going to go. We're going to leave you because what we're looking forward to next week, of course, is the new consoles, aren't we? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Nothing.
No, I'm not interested.
And James, you've got your concert soon to look forward to. So you're going to report back. So on Wednesday, we're going to report back on the Xbox Series X and James's concerts, sound checks.
Yep. Yeah. You know what you went to hear about.
Yeah. Where can we find you, Richard, if we need to talk to you?
On Twitter at Dobbo1912.
And James, what about you?
That's where you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at OTGKO. I'm not really fussed.
Don't say that. You can find me.
Talk to people.
You can find me at DB Briley on Twitter or Twitch. But for now, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.